Yeah, server is not happy with this at the moment. And before we started recording, other than the our base here, our base on the planet below, and the pirate stations, which actually the ones in space, the pirate stations didn't show up on my list of ships.
Right.
I went through and cleaned a lot of stuff up that we've reached a stage that we're not going to be dealing with. Because, like, we had the mod error that caused certain blocks to disappear that we had show up last week. So went through and cleaned up a bunch of stuff that just extra blocks on server that the game might be trying to keep track of.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem game-wise, honestly. Starting to believe that these they can't keep up with the demand on their servers right now. That's what I'm thinking. So any topics of discussion you have in mind?
Well, none at the moment. Kind of trying to get this fleshed out a little bit so that I can throw some grub in my tums.
Gotcha. Well, they were my construction components. Thanks, Thruster.
What, did it kill you?
No, I'm avoiding the thrusters because they eat up, like, what, 60 construction components each? And I bumped one of them and there it went.
Still kind of working on it, but I have the overall shape of what I was talking about just about done.
Okay.
Now, parts of it would have to be ground away to make it to actually weld it all together, but
right.
And of course merged blocks put on and things like that, but
I think I would like it the other way better myself. But
okay.
That final decision will be yours.
Honestly, I'm half of one, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So.
Gotcha.
At least we're not near the death point for a space engineer's world. I don't.
Yeah.
Where you have that point where if you add another block, it crashes.
That would suck.
Or if you remove
you know what
it crashes.
Oh, good lord, it gets that bad?
That's part of the reason why I had to stop with that Star Wars Dreadnought build. was... I mean, if you've seen any of the videos on it, the thing's ginormous.
I think I remember some of it, yeah.
It's a 1-to-1 build of a Star Wars Legends Dreadnought.
Oh, good lord, man.
So it's... I mean, it doesn't sound that big, but when you start to realize that, yes, it's 600 meters long.
Uh-huh. And each one of these blocks are what, right at 8 meter or 3 meters?
2.5.
So yeah, so about 700 blocks in one direction. That's yeah. Yeah, that's kind of big, man.
And it was like almost 200 meters tall, and something like at its widest point close to something like 175 meters wide. It was huge.
Yeah. Now it'd be nice if this game gets to a point where you could build 1-to-1 size ships and not run into that problem.
I don't know if you've looked at it, but there's a guy on the Keen forums that has a ship that he's been working on for a while that is a 1-to-1 of a Star Trek Galaxy class.
Oh, okay. So the idea of playing around in my head to do a sort of used shipyard miniseries of videos is still playing in my head. I'm kind of liking the idea more and more if I can get around to writing a script for it or something.
Used shipyard?
Sure. Come on down to Fuzzco used shipyards and platforms, where if you need a ship for your battle, come on down here and we got it cheap. Some shit like that. And, you know, it'd be something that's not something of mine starting off with, because, you know, I don't build well to begin with, and, you know, it'd be just a great way to throw it out there, you know?
You could,
like,
do the Ship of Fools.
Yeah. Wouldn't be much of a combat ship, but it could be a starter
exploration.
Cargo ship, I guess, or an exploration ship, yeah. But have a semi-sort of script for, you know, each one. Like I was thinking about my little light cruiser, you know, explaining that every army needs cannon fodder. Come on down and buy it while it's still cheap, while it's still in stock. Something like that. What did I come down here for? Construction components.
That would be a unique way of doing spotlights.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I had in mind. But starting with my own, so that I could be quite critical of it without any backlash, because, well, they're mine.
You can be critical of it and not feel like somebody might feel insulted.
Right. Once they get the idea that it's all for entertainment, you know, then I can branch out to other ones. But I was thinking about a full-blown commercial to start it up of Fuzzco used ships and platforms.
Nice.
The fun part is trying not to trip over my tongue while talking.
Yeah.
It's my little channel trailer.
Yeah.
Just that short little segment took me 5 times, and after the 5th time I said screw it and just edited it a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes doing things like that, I'll catch myself more going into a rant or saying unnecessary things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Rambling. That's what you're looking for. Speaking of rant, I kind of want to know what you were saying about the ship that you cut out.
It was pretty much, this is bad.
It's probably good that you did cut it out, but yeah.
I mean, summarized,
Did I forget
this
one?
is a bad ship, and you should feel bad about
Right.
building it.
Oh, good lord. Oops. Yeah.
Now, I'm hoping
Yeah.
you're going to cut that part out of this conversation.
Yeah, I'm not gonna keep that in there. What are those? Those are David's.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. They are mine.
I put about, how many did I put on there? 8. No. Yeah, 16. About 22 little Davids on the heavy variant of that ship that I was building. There's about, I think, like 6 or 7 central and 8 in each thruster part on the outside. Thruster components. We made a bunch there. We got 3,000 of them. Not that.
I am. Oh, get away from
Yeah,
the
3,000 there.
I am going to sit
3,500
for
there.
a second and eat.
Okay.
I'm inside the Ship of Fools, watching above, so I kind of want to eat food before it goes bad.
Probably a good idea. Yeah, we ran out of platinum. So, after I weld up these thrusters on the outside, since I've got some components, I guess I will go out looking for...
Check inside the
platinum.
shuttles. They may have some platinum.
Okay. Something I'd noticed about both those ships I was building, they're incredibly slow. Especially the one with all the heavy armor now. And from a cruiser standpoint, they're more of a fast attack ship, aren't they? Get in, get a hit, and get out.
Are they made of light armor?
One of them is. The other one is a lot of heavy armor, kind of covering a layer of light armor.
Okay, the light armored one is probably your standard. Well, that's hard because cruisers. You had 2 different approaches to heavy cruiser, or actually you had 3 approaches to heavy cruisers, or high-end cruiser variants. You have battle cruisers, which all the cruiser variants really got their start in the British Navy in the lead up to World War One and between World War One and World War Two, because there was an admiral in the British Navy at that point that was arguing for cruisers over battleships for the British Navy.
Okay.
And he battle cruisers were pretty much cruisers, your normal cruiser, so lighter armor, faster speed, things like that, but with
right.
Heavy heavier guns, almost battleship level guns.
Okay.
You had heavy cruisers, which had heavier armor than normal cruisers, and not necessarily bigger guns or better guns, but more. What would the right term be? Well, just more guns in general. They were slower than normal cruisers, things like that. Basically, had
Right.
all the problems that battleships have, but less of them. And then you had things that were attack cruisers and things like that that were... Basically, the idea with the cruiser was you had one basic hull line that they'd build. Or at least what this admiral was arguing. Was one basic hull that was somewhat standardized. And then on top of that hull, you just laid down a standardized variation upon it to create the various cruiser variants that he was arguing for. But since at that time, battleships were kind of the sign of power for your country, he really didn't do too well with his argument.
Gotcha. Alright, reactors are waiting on superconductors and reactor components. That's something we forgot.
Yeah.
How many of those do we have? Probably not many. No, because we were making them for the other ones, weren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to need 4,000 iridium. Where? Oh yeah, I forgot. They look weird. There they are.
They look kind of like squids.
They look kind of like a badminton thing to me.
I can see a shuttlecock.
Birdie. I guess.
That's what it's called.
That's what it is called. I grew up calling it a birdie. Shuttlecock. I could see where it'd be called a birdie.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so 200 superconductors, which we should have by now. Oh, because I have too much of that on me. Can I carry that many? Yeah, I can carry all that. Alright, just reactor components for those now. Is the jump sled gonna be a drone / remote control, or we're gonna put a bridge on it?
A bridge on it. A small one.
Okay.
Probably one man. Because we're gonna need them separate. I mean, if we get into a position where it's going to be used, we basically spacewalk out to get in it.
Right. Okay. What do I do to get these started? Everything. God, Sage, you're a freaking madman. 360 large steel tubes.
Well, I think it's just the normal components, but
Yeah, there's nothing special in them. It's just the sheer number of it. And, I mean, it's... I'm not saying it ain't called for. These things are mighty powerful.
Mhm.
But damn it, man. Alright, so...
Okay.
Oh, did you... I think we talked about it before, but did you know he is working on a modular, I guess you call it interior block system
Yes.
of sorts?
Yes.
I'm actually looking forward to
Yep.
that. Oops. What else
The
did I
only
need
thing
next?
that I mean, his stuff may be the only thing that gets me to stop using I think it's TSIV. I always get the letters confuzzled. But
Mhm.
that may be the only thing that gets me to stop using that mod pack.
I can see that. Alright, I saw the steel plates. Let's go ahead and dump the construction components in. That's the next lightest thing. Yeah, how annoying this was doing this solo when I put the sage thrusters on the dead leaves.
I have no idea how annoying that would be, but I can guess.
Yeah, I was running trips back and forth with thruster components for hours. Well, not really hours, but it took a while. And I think it's mainly because I had to wait for them to actually make two as I went.
Yeah.
How
Please
many?
tell me that's a
360.
Okay, yes, that's a 3x3.
Oh, speaking of that, those Gothic cannons, they're actually a 2x3.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And they're strangely shaped. I tried using them on that ship I was working on last night, or night before last, and it just wasn't thrilled with it. And they have weird connection points. They have like 5 connection points. It's just weird.
Alright, let's see. I want to weld that up. So I need some interior components.
Now that Nova cannon you showed me, that might make its way into an iteration.
I have no problem if we find some unique weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, something I did that I still really liked was creating a list of mods that I'd like to use.
Right.
And I created a list of them. And I had 20. And every time I either found a derelict or captured a ship, I would roll a d20.
Right.
And if the I would get whatever mod that was rolled, and if that mod I happened to already have, I didn't get anything new.
Okay. We could always do something like that if you want to.
I mean, that was something I enjoyed, and it added kind of a thing for going out and catching other stuff.
Right. We could do that with some of the big tech and whatnot. We could always start it up on the next playthrough if you wanted to.
I think that would be best.
Okay.
Construction components, computers. The only problem with that, really, was the fact that why can't I put anything else in there? Oh, it's probably full. That might be why. Some of those. Was that some of my when I roll, I would immediately give myself the tech, and it actually happened fairly quickly, me collecting all the tech, because I ended up with a fairly lucky dice. So, might want to look at another system, but...
Sure.
Okay, I need STE.
Alright, I saw the steel tubes on that side.
And computer. Oh, computers, where are you there? And let's grab some of those. Low sim speed on server, I know. That is one thing, though. Since we were on the planet that's the hardest planet to take off from, and we know that the Ship of Fools can do that, we don't really have to worry about landing and taking off from other...
No, it'll do it.